Thank you for guys. Thanks for watching. This is the FlipCast episode 1. I am honored to have Robert here with me. He is the founder of AnimEigo. That name always messes me up a little bit.
AnimEigo.
AnimEigo, and right now they have a Kickstarter for Megazone 23 out, which crushed it. Like you guys, your first goal was hit like what in like a day.
Yeah.
So that's got to feel pretty good. So Robert, for people who don't know, your company is one of the original anime companies here, and you guys are the last one alive, right?
Yeah, we're the sole survivor of the original crew.
Which is pretty cool. What, 31 years?
Uh, 30 and a bit.
30 and a bit. And not only anime, you guys brought over samurai films, Japanese cinema as well. So growing up, or not growing up, but like when you guys started this company, what was the goal? Like because anime wasn't really a thing here at the time.
The company was started, pardon me, the company was started as a joke.
So how did that joke turn into a 31-year-old company?
Well, at the time, I was writing computer games, and some of the games had been released in Japan, so I'd been going over to Japan a fair amount. And one of my coworkers was a big anime fan, and this was back in the day when anime was shown at clubs, and there'd be like one poor member of the club who actually spoke Japanese who would do a live translation.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, real old school stuff. And I had just gotten a video board that let me put computer graphics on top of video just to play around with. It was for the Macintosh 2, as it happened. And my coworker and friend, Ro Adams, he saw me playing with it, and he said, "Hey, could you use that to do subtitling?" And I said, "Well, yeah, it's just bits. You can put any graphics you want on top." And he said, "Well, could you subtitle some of this anime for my club?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I could, but it seems like a lot of work. You know, how about, I'm always going over to Japan. How about I go get some licenses and we try and sell it?" And 5 minutes later, when we had stopped laughing at what a stupid idea this was, and I'm not exaggerating, laughing, falling on the floor, unable to breathe at the ridiculousness of this idea that could not possibly ever work and was basically just an excuse to do something weird. We said, yeah, sure, we'll try it. And so next time we started calling around, and the next time I went to Japan, I made a deal with a friend of mine who ran both a computer company and an anime company that I would do a computer convention as his guest, and in return he would get me appointments at all of the anime companies to discuss licensing. And he also provided me with an interpreter. And we've been married for over 25 years now, so that also
Oh,
worked.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So you met your wife doing a hobby that you love.
I I met my wife doing something incredibly stupid.
Well, 25 years is a lot. So, I mean, that you guys, and your wife also works with the she's very hands-on, right?
My wife runs the company.
She runs it.
Yeah, she's the boss.
Wow.
I
Nice.
just do the grunt work.
That's awesome. So you guys
Even makes me do these dumb podcast interviews.
which, by the way, thank you again. Guys, if you don't know, I just messaged Robert out of the blue on Twitter and asked if he would do an interview, and he said yes. So I was actually really shocked. I thought that you were going to say no, because after doing some research on you, you're involved in robots, computer games, EVE Online, right?
For a while, yeah, not anymore.
Not anymore. I played EVE for about a year, and it was the most time-consuming thing I've ever done. It was a second job.
Yeah, actually, for many people, it's a first job.
It is a lot of work. So, so what about anime and Japanese cinema like caught your eye at first? Like, because I like a lot of kids my age, because I'm 27. Our first experience was Dragon Ball Z, but back then, what was your first thing that caught your eye and like, oh crap, like this is amazing. This is something really special.
Well, I don't want to burst your bubble, but uh, for me, Ro Adams was a fan of anime. I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it in the same way that I enjoy movies.
Okay.
I am a film fan.
Okay.
Okay, and I've always felt that a lot of anime, especially the anime that I like, if the director and the creators had been working in America, they would have made the film as live action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, um, but because they were in Japan with its cultural history, the history of using animation to do as a way, not in and of itself as animation, but as a way to tell a story. Um, so in Japan, that a really great director, being an anime director, was, you know, like name your favorite American director, and if he'd been born in Japan, he would have been doing anime almost certainly.
I
Like
can't think of my
James
favorite
Cameron,
director.
right?
James Cameron, yeah.
If he'd been a Japanese creator director, Terminator would have been.
Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time. So that is so I could see him doing it, some stuff like that.
Yeah, so I enjoy it, but I enjoy it the anime as movies and as TV series, not as anime per se, just because it's anime.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'm a huge film fan, just like you. But as you can tell behind me, a lot of my entertainment is manga and anime. Like that's all manga and anime behind me. I got two more shelves over here. Um, but companies like and just like yours and Discotech, they seem like they're almost the criterion of anime. You guys are bringing over like absolute classics, like Bubblegum Crisis, hands down, absolute classic. And so let's go ahead and jump into Kickstarter. When did Kickstarter become an option?
Well, Kickstarter for us has never been about raising funds to do a project. It's always been about the most efficient way of marketing and distributing a project. There are a lot of titles, especially the older titles, where going through the normal distribution channels with all the markups, what I like to call the Amazon tax, um, it doesn't make good sense, or at least you can't do the kind of release that you would want to do. But because with a Kickstarter, we can effectively go direct to the end user. And in particular, we can tailor the release particularly to the people who actually say they want it. It allows us to do a much sort of more comprehensive release. We can spend more time, we can do a lot more research, we can gather the best materials, all that sort of stuff. So for me, especially for the older titles, where there's not only just the aspect of releasing this cool thing that all the old school OG fans know about, but maybe some of the younger fans don't know about. There's also a preservation aspect of now is the time to make sure this stuff from the 80s and 90s, which was done on film and film degrades, is properly preserved. And so anything we can do, either by commissioning the transfer, the HD and 4K transfers ourselves, or making sure that the Japanese releaser knows, well, if you do a Japanese Blu-ray release, there's a secondary market for it here in the U.S. I think is a good thing. So in particular, the one thing I really love to do on these releases is like scrounge around for the best possible materials and all the stuff that's been like stuck in a warehouse.
So how hard is that to find like the original like film stock, the original cells, like all that? Like how like what is the process of going through that?
Well, it varies. Sometimes it's really pretty easy. Um, Sometimes it's just a matter of putting the word out that you're doing the release. And oh, by the way, if you happen to, you know, tell your friends if they happen to have materials, get in touch with us. I mean, um, we got a lot of sete on Gunsmith Cats. Uh, not just the set that we got from the original producers in Japan, but some other people also had like photocopies of sete
That's so cool.
that that we didn't have, and so we managed to get those. It also we one thing we've been able to do in all the releases is commission new artwork, like from Kenichi Sonoda, um, does new artwork for us on each one of his releases, and that's a nice way of sending a little money back to him, but also getting something neat and new that is special to the particular release that we're doing.
So the backer tier list on Kickstarter, there's some really big ones. Like one was $6,000 and it's sold out. So I've always wondered the people who back that stuff, like how hands on are they, and how much do you talk to them and keep them up to date with what's going on, because they are backing a crap ton of money.
Well, we do special things for the top tier backers, obviously. I mean, first of all, their support funds some of the extra goodies that everybody gets.
That's awesome.
Basically, what we try and do is, whatever we collect, we want to basically spend about half of that money on the actual production, manufacturing, and shipping to get it into people's hands. And the other half, we split between us and the Japanese producers. When somebody pledges, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, they're doing things like making sure that there's going to be an extra goodie that we don't tell anybody about that comes in everybody's package, or they are, making sure that we can upgrade something. Because now we got a little bit of extra, budget to work with. But we also do some nice things for them. They get mentioned on the packaging, which is nice.
Was it the Bubblegum Crisis Blu-ray when you put it in, it showed all the backers right away?
Well, we do.
I like that a lot.
Everybody who pledges gets in the backers list on the disc, and we also usually we've gotten into the habit of doing a poster that gets inserted with the Blu-ray, kind of a fold-out poster, and it's got everybody's name on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you can, so long as you back the project before we actually start manufacturing, you get on that list. On a couple of them, we've done individualized certificates, and everybody got their own personalized code, and there was a Easter egg feature that you could go and if you knew how to type in your own particular code, it would pop up your personalized certificate.
That's awesome. That's cool.
That was an incredible nightmare to get it working.
I bet that was a nightmare.
Our Blu-ray authoring guy at one point threatened to drive from Tennessee and shoot me.
That's awesome.
But we got that working. We didn't do it in the latest one because it was just going to be too much of a nightmare. But the latest one, for example, there is an Easter egg on the disc.
Are we talking about Gunsmith Cats?
Gunsmith Cats has an Easter egg on the disc, but only the top backer knows where it is. And whether he or she decides to let anybody else know about it, that's up to them.
That's pretty awesome. So one day, I could be watching Gunsmith Cats and just accidentally find this Easter egg. Like, how hard is it to actually find?
You have to be in the right place at the right time and do the right thing.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty awesome.
So I expect there are going to be people spending hundreds of hours, like frantically,
just mashing buttons
throughout the entire disc.
So what goes into choosing an anime? Like like what goes into, you guys have done Gunsmith Cats, um, go off my memory, Bubblegum Crisis. You did a guy. What's that Guy Next documentary? That
We did a
documentary,
Talking to Video, Riding Bean, Gunsmith Cats, Bubblegum Crisis, and now we're doing Magazine 23.
and all of those are just classics. So like, what goes into actually choosing? Like, do you guys make a list and you guys go, all right, we want to do?
Oh yeah, we got like the huge list. Sorry, huge list. Um, but it comes down to a matter of is the license available? Can we get a reasonable deal? For years, it was very tough to get people to in Japan to accept the whole Kickstarter
Yeah.
marketing idea. And in fact, it's very reminiscent of the very early days of the industry when, getting licenses was very tough. And actually, Toshio Okada, who was the guy who introduced me to my wife, I was complaining to him about this once, and he said something which I've always felt is either very wise or just the most wonderful piece of bullshit he ever uttered, which was he said that everybody wants to be the second person to do business with you. And that turned out to be exactly true. Everybody, as soon as we did the first real completely licensed in Japan, completely handled with Japanese licensing deal, which was Writing Bean as it happens, then the floodgates opened and it became easy because we had a track record. And the same thing happened with the Kickstarters. Once we'd done Bubblegum Crisis, it took like 3 years to get all the ducks lined up in a row to do Bubblegum Crisis. But once that had been a success and we actually released it, then it became a lot easier. And now the major stumbling block tends to be materials. There are more than a few titles that we'd really like to do. The problem is they do not have the film materials anymore.
Does that kind of break your heart? Does that break your heart? Like, something is just lost to time.
I mean, there are more than a few companies in Japan that we basically told, if you ever find this, call us because we want to do that title.
See, that's why I like having physical media, is because it never disappears on you. And I mean, there's like a stat out there. It's like something like X amount of all the silent films are just gone.
Yeah.
Just lost to time, just burned, or just they just withered away. And is the same thing happening over there? Like, is just anime just slowly?
It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, one of the funniest, and it has a happy ending, but we licensed a title back in the day, and we wanted to dub it. And so we said, oh, would you send us the music and effects tracks, which are for those of you who don't know, music and effects tracks are like everything but the dialogue. So you get the music and effects tracks, and then you add the English dialogue on top of that. Okay, so we said, please send us the music and effects tracks, because in our contract it said we could have them. And then we got the reply, it's like, we hate to tell you, but there was a flood.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was a flood, and all of these materials that we thought we had, we don't have anymore. And so like we were bereft, because this I won't say what title it was, but it's an absolute classic of the genre.
I'm trying to think of what you guys have put out.
So anyway, so we said, okay, put out the word, that these are gone, and go search, do what we like to call combat archaeology, and go in there with the gun and the whip, and see what you can find, and maybe you've got a backup copy somewhere. And it turned out that the assistant sound effects engineer on that movie was a pack rat, and he had kept copies of the original music and the original effects tapes. Actually, if I recall correctly, he only had the effects tape, but that was okay because the music had been released on a soundtrack album.
So you guys just ripped that and then just
So we
spliced it
could
together?
get the soundtrack album and restore the music track. We just needed the effects track. Okay, so he had those, and he dug them out of his, basically, he had a man shed somewhere in the middle of a tropical Japanese forest. I don't know where it was, but so he dug out these tapes, and these tapes were on a format, an analog format that was obsolete. So he sent us the tapes and said, well, these tapes aren't in the best of condition, but hopefully you'll be able to get something off of them. So then we had to find somebody in the US who had a machine that could play these tapes. And that was not easy, but we did. And we sent him the tapes, and he looked at them and said, guys, you got a problem. These tapes are really deteriorating. I just unreeled like the first few inches of them, and the oxide is flaking off the tape. I will try, but I think I'm going to be able to run these through the machine once, and then they're basically going to be Mission Impossible tapes that are going to self-destruct as they go through the machine.
So every step of the way, you guys would get hope. Oh, wow, we found someone with the machine, and then just keep going, keep going.
And so he did, and he managed to get perfect, one time through, and he was right. The metal dust was literally coming off these things in clouds as they were spinning through the machine.
Wow. And then you guys were able to salvage that and use it.
Yeah, we were able to salvage and release it.
So without you guys, another year, another month, those tapes would have just been completely ruined.
Yeah,
so it's a perfect timing.
Who knows? I mean, it was, this sort of thing happens all the time. I mean, people store stuff with the best of intentions, but then the company goes bankrupt, and that's why all sorts of weird things turn up in these storage unit auctions.
Yeah,
those TV shows.
Yeah,
because this is what happens, but sometimes you get lucky, and somebody happens to have something, or they worked on a show and they happen to have a copy of the set day, or the magazine happens to one of the anime magazines happened to keep copies of the posi films with the original artwork for like the cover shot that's used. And the producer doesn't have it anymore. There have been a couple of times when a producer has come to us and said, do you have any materials from this show? And we say, of course we do, because we got everything you had 20 years ago.
So you kind of almost went into my next question there at the start of that. How hard, because Japanese business is notorious for being completely different from business here, and especially like with the video game industry, how hard is it to work with Japanese businessmen on anime, especially older anime?
It's not hard. I mean, my wife is Japanese. She's a professional translator interpreter. She's a very good businesswoman. We've been doing this for a long time, and of course, people know us. They know we're idiots, but we're honest idiots who, if we make a promise, we keep the promise. So a lot of those sort of friction points aren't there. Mostly, it's a matter of can we come to a deal that makes sense for everybody, and are the materials available to do the project, and if all the things line up, then it gets done. I mean, it's not significantly different from doing business in the United States.
So has there been a point, because you talk about the stuff being lost to time, has there been a point where you guys are like, all right, this is our next Kickstarter, this is the next project, and then you're almost ready to launch or almost ready to go further with it, and then just something like just last second, oh, we don't have the soundtrack, or we don't have that tape or we don't have.
Usually that happens about a week after the Kickstarter launches.
Oh wow, really? Wow. Did that happen with Bubblegum Crisis or Gunsmith Cats?
Actually, we delayed Megazone 23 by basically a month because we were hoping to expand the rights outside of U.S. only. Right now, it's U.S. only, and there were just a couple of impediments to getting Canada and UK and EU, which we really wanted to do. And so we thought, well, we'll wait a month and until August. We were going to launch in July, and by that time we'll have that rights lined up. And as it turned out, it's taken longer than we expected. We're still hoping that's going to happen, but right now the project is U.S. only. So that it's nobody's real fault. It's just, especially with older titles, there are often situations where what people think is the case isn't actually the case. I mean, weird things, happen, especially for older stuff. We've had situations where we wanted to license a title, and there were two companies each saying that the other company had the rights to the title. Each swearing, no, we don't have the rights. Company B has the rights, and Company B says, no, we don't have the rights. Company A has the rights, and finally we just got them together and said, look, you guys
who has the rights?
Figure out which one of you has the rights, and then let us know.
So with Megazone 23, first off, for anyone, Kickstarter does have a little bit of a negative connotation, just in general, because there's been a lot of projects that have failed. But every one of the projects that Robert has started has come out and has been amazing. Bubblegum Crisis is one of my
technically Gunsmith Cats isn't coming out for another 2 or 3 weeks.
But you can still go to your site and pay for it, and in 2 or 3 weeks you can get it.
Yeah. But, well, it may be a little longer because I just found out this morning that the art books, which were printed in Canada, were supposed to be sent to New Jersey, but somehow got sent to Minnesota.
Shipping is a pain in the ass. It's such a pain, especially with something like that. I'm sure there's a lot of art books.
I got the tracking information, and I'm going, oh, wow, great, it's going to be there in 2 days. And then I looked at the delivery address, and I'm going why are they sending it,
How do you fix that problem? Do you have to contact the post office?
Well, no, this is being sent on a truck.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the truck driver's going along like this, and he gets a text, and it's like.
Well, hopefully he doesn't break any books, because that would be awful. But
I spent the morning looking for a really good GIF of a truck doing a hard left turn to go from Minnesota to New Jersey.
So with Megazone 23, why Megazone 23? Why did you guys? Why is that the next one?
It's the next one because it was available. It's a classic. Basically, if you look at the list of the key animators and all the staff, it was the show not only that basically kickstarted the OVA boom in Japan, but it was the show that made the reps of everybody who's at the top of their game now. Pretty much, you name somebody who's a very significant director of anime, and go look in the Megazone credits, and the odds are probably about 80% that they're in there.
And then, so going down the list, we have Noboru Ishiguro. I'm terrible with names, so if I mess it up, which worked on Macross. You got Ichiro Atano, Macross as well. We got Gaku Meow, who did Devil Hunter. You got Hideaki Anno. Of course, everyone knows who Hideaki Anno is. Neon Genesis Evangelion. You got Kenshi Yatagai, who did Bubblegum Crisis. You got people who've worked on Dirty Pair, Appleseed, The Animatrix, Visions of Escaflowne, Gundam. You have a very eclectic just group of people who are all very important to anime now, who worked on this. And so getting the rights to this, was that a difficult task, or was that pretty easy?
Actually, it wasn't that hard. It just took time. Because again, it's an older title. They have to make sure that oftentimes the rights are split between several companies and they all have to agree. I think we spent about 2.5 years getting the rights to this title.
So
But
this has
it
been
was,
in the working for a long
oh, yeah,
time.
I mean,
So this, so like,
oftentimes, oftentimes it'll, it's not 2.5 years is not the longest I've spent getting the rights to a title.
what's the longest
Not
you
by
spent?
a long shot.
What's the longest, and if you can say what title?
Oh, I'm just trying to remember which one would it be? Oh, there've been a couple that have been up in the 3 or 4 year range.
Wow.
I can't remember offhand which one's the longest, but yeah, sometimes it just takes time. I mean, it's kind of like a slow boil thing where they know you want it, they want to do it, but they have to like. It may be that another company has partial rights, but those rights are going to expire in 2 years, so everybody has to wait. And
So,
it.
so like right now, you guys behind the scenes are working on something, and 2, 3 years from now might be up on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, we probably have 3 or 4
Wow,
projects that we're actively, percolating along.
that's awesome. That is
Yeah,
really good to hear because you guys are one of the very few companies that even if I don't know what the anime is, I'm gonna purchase it just to show you guys some love. I do that with you and Discotech. Those are the only two companies that I like. I buy everything from, or I try to. That just like you said that Guy Next mockumentary that you guys did.
hmm
I never had heard of that until you guys got the rights to it, and when it came out on Blu-ray, I bought it. When it came out, I bought it because I was like, I gotta show some love to this company because you guys are seriously one of my favorites.
Well, I appreciate that, and Otaku no Video is actually one of my favorites
Is it
because
really one of your favorites?
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, well, there are a bunch of shows that I've really enjoyed, both for the watching and also the working on. I mean, sometimes there are great shows, but like once you're finished working on them, you never want to watch them again. It's just because you've had to watch it like 50 times.
It's like me, my family, and I. We own a pizza place, and there's some food that I just don't want to eat because we make it homemade every single day, and I'm just sick of spaghetti at this
Yeah,
point.
um, it's the there's internally we refer to working here as working in the sausage factory because like once you know how sausage is made, you never want to eat it.
Yeah.
And in fact, one thing we try and do is we let people volunteer to work on some aspects of the project, like proofreading and stuff like that. Um, and so we have a Slack channel for the volunteers, um, and that Slack channel is called Sausage Factory.
So you guys have you seem like just from talking to you for this short amount of time, you're a very nice guy. You're very happy. You seem like you're a very
Or
good
at least I
person.
fake it really well.
Or you fake it extremely well. But you guys got a good sense of humor. So I got a handful of questions from my YouTube followers, or my subs. I don't want to call them fans because that's kind of weird to say fans. Um, and one of them is, what is your favorite anime, and what is your favorite anime that after working on it you don't like anymore?
Okay, boy, I got a lot of favorites. Um, in terms of shows that I haven't worked on that I really enjoyed, um, the one thing I always wanted to do but never got a chance to do was do a Miyazaki film, and I really love My Neighbor Totoro. I love that film. I love that and Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kikis is the first. When I met my wife, she's from a very small town, so she never heard of anime or anything. And I was like, we gotta go. I was like thinking, what can I show her that will get her into anime? And the theater was having Ghibli Fest here in town, so I took her to see Kikis, and she was I think like 6 months pregnant at the time. So that's a very special film. She loved it. She was in love with it, and then ever since then, slowly, we've gotten into anime together.
I'm going to try something. Just I don't know if I can flip to the other camera.
Oh, you can. Yep.
This is my. Oh, where the hell did it go? I think I may have moved it. I used to have a really nice Totoro cell up on my wall. Yeah, I moved it because because that's all the production stuff for
Megazone.
for a bunch of projects actually.
Wow.
But yeah, this is my incredible executive office with all the hard drives.
It looks a lot. Looks a lot better than mine does right now. Mine is extremely unorganized.
Yeah, our office is also our house. We kind of doubled it up.
Yeah, I mean, I live right down the road from where I work. You're now upside down, Robert.
I am?
Yeah, can you turn the iPad over a little bit?
It's right set up for me.
Oh, well, we can do the interview upside down.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can. I'll flip to the other view.
Oh, you're still upside down. You're oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. So,
okay, that is probably only the third most bizarre thing that's happened to me today. So.
Well, I mean, besides the tracking, that sounds awful. So at your at the Kickstarter, you have, you get a digital download of the high resolution artwork at $5. At 60, you get the you get the Blu-ray.
2 discs.
You get a 2-disc Blu-ray, and then you get a Bahamut backup digital production materials.
Yep.
And then the one I backed, I don't see it. Yeah, $90. You get the chipboard collector case, production art book, and then from there on, you just get some. Like, if I had more money to blow, I would be getting the $300 one. I'd be getting the.
You can upgrade later.
Maybe we still got 13 days left.
Well, no. Here's the way we do it. The Kickstarter is basically just the start of the process. You can back the project at the Kickstarter price right up until the point where we actually start the manufacturing and still get your name on the disc and all that sort of stuff. You can still back the project right up until the point where we actually get it and lock down for shipping. And then if we have any left over, because you always make some extras. If we have any left over, you can then buy it afterwards. The one thing we always promise is you will never get it cheaper than the Kickstarter price.
Okay.
So once we just have our residual copies, we usually price them at the same price or slightly higher than the Kickstarter price. So you're never going to see this discounted on Amazon or anything like that. I mean, these are limited editions. We do one pressing. So if you get one, then you're one of the
lucky few.
People. Yeah, that's why we try to do the little kind of extra goodies and stuff, especially the one I like. We always do these extra related goodies. Sometimes we've just included them. Sometimes they're just something on this one. They're just something you can get as an extra thing. And one of the ones we always do, it's sort of become a tradition, is to do an embroidered patch.
Awesome.
Yeah, and these are pretty elaborate, 4-inch by 4-inch patches. They're the most recent one we did. We actually found out that there is a massive number of thread colors you can have on one of these things because we ran into it. It's 12, by the way.
12.
Yeah.
12 colors.
The commercial patch stitching machines, computer-controlled patch stitching machines, can do 12 different thread colors.
That's actually a lot.
Yeah, it is.
That's quite a bit.
And you would think that would be enough to do the kind of things we like to do. Turns out, no, it's not enough.
So, how many hands touch a Blu-ray release? Like between the actual making of the disc. Because when you showed off your office, you see a lot of materials.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So in terms of, we keep things pretty lean because we're basically a small family business. We deliberately decided to keep the business small. At one point, we did have like 10 or 15 employees.
Wow.
Then 2008 happened, and so we made a decision to downsize and kind of specialize in doing these kind of limited edition releases where we could do it with a small team. So I'll take Gunsmith Cats, for example. We had, you got Natsumi and myself, the alleged executives. I'm also the production coordinator. I do a lot of the, things like subtitle timing and stuff like that. I find it very zen to just go in and do that kind of stuff. And I'm kind of a techie nerd, so I do all the IT support. We have a couple of translators, freelancers. We have a woman who is a grammar Nazi.
That's good.
Yeah, she actually started out as a volunteer on an earlier project, and by Smith Cats, we just said, no, look, you're a pro now. We're going to pay you.
That's good. That's awesome.
We have a couple of people that had started out as volunteers, and were just basically, they just were doing such good work that we said, no, we will not let you volunteer for the next project. We are going to pay you, because you do professional level work and you deserve to be paid professionally. And so their early work basically became their sort of resume.
Yeah.
And now, in fact, she now has gotten a couple of jobs because she worked on the earlier projects.
It's a very It's a very grassroots.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people wanted to see what it's actually like to work on in anime, and found out to their dismay that it really sucked.
It's not that fun. It's actually a lot of work.
It's fun for the first like 20 or 30 hours you're working on a project, and then the grind sets in. But no, I mean, and we had like 5 or 6 volunteer proofreaders and researchers, and a couple of graphics guys who volunteered, and we have a couple of professional graphics guys, and somebody who specialized in disc quality control, and a disc authoring guy. So all told, and then there's people at like the book printing company and the disc replication company, all told, really directly involved, probably a dozen to 15 different people.
That's actually a lot more than I thought that was going to be.
I mean, we could cram it down. I mean, and a lot of these people, especially the volunteers, it's sort of a part-time thing. They'll do 40 or 50 hours of work on a project, spaced over several months, or they'll have a particular interest, that they like to clean up. For example, one of the real dog work jobs is, we get scans of the set day, the production line art, and they go in and clean them up. Because there's always like a little, copier dots and other crud, and so somebody has to go in and spend 70 or 80 hours cleaning up 150 drawings, and they can do that over several months, but that's a kind of it's grunt work job, but some people actually kind of enjoy doing that. And enjoy knowing that when that art book comes out, they can look at those pages and say, "Oh, that looked like shit before I worked on it."
You seem like a very workaholic type of guy.
Oh, I try not to work as much as possible.
But just going through your Wikipedia page, you've made video games, you've made robots, you've done anime for 30 years. You were on the Eve council, right?
Yeah.
So you've had your hand in so many just cool projects, so many cool things, and then doing some other research on you. You have a YouTube page, and how is that Tesla Model 3? How is that? Is that awesome?
I've had an electric car. We've had an electric car since 2011. We had
Wow.
a Chevy Bolt. We still have a Chevy Bolt, in fact. Um, uh, actually,
Because we're at the part, me and my wife are at the part where we're gonna have to get a new car, and we're thinking Model 3
you should get a Model 3.
because I think that's the thing we're gonna get. And I was watching that video. Was that your grandma
I
that
can,
you?
I can, I can give you a code that will get you free supercharging.
Wow.
Oh, there it is.
Oh man, that is such a beautiful car. That
Well,
thing is
just
beautiful.
so as you know, we are preparing for our hurricane, which is going to hit us.
Oh
in a
yeah,
couple.
you're like in that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
So I just went out and got the gas, and usually this Chevy Volt is right there. That's where it charges, and so we're well prepared. These are all of the boxes for
Wow. That's a
and we
lot
got
of boxes.
generator, and yeah, here's the Model 3, and
That's such
just
a
so you
beautiful
can
car.
see,
That's awesome. That is a
yeah.
beautiful car, and I really like that red. I think that's the color. I was telling my
Um,
wife.
yeah, they charge you extra for the red.
Do they? Of course
Yeah,
they do.
they do. Bastards.
But,
Elon gets his pound of flesh.
Tesla has been a dream car of mine forever, but the Model S and the Model X have been $100,000 cars, and pizza business is good, but it's not that good where I can get a Model S. So, but Model 3 is just a beautiful.
These are some of the goodies for Gunsmith Cats. We got the pins. Let's see if I can find out where the camera is. Yeah, these are the little
Oh wow.
pins we did. And we did rubber. A lot of these are suggestions from people. Like this is a rubber strap, cell phone strap.
Oh, that's a cell phone strap?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and we did we did stickers and coins and keychains. These are this big line here. These are all the larger art books that we got done. And one of the actual problems we had with this project was that so we decided that we would let people decide like what goodies they want, basically as add-ons.
Yeah.
And the problem is that there are like 4 or 5 different types of goodies, and so some people wanted one, some people wanted another, and all sorts of different combinations. And it turned out so far, I had to make up packs so we could just stuff them in.
So you can just put
and there are over 100 different combinations so far.
Holy shit!
So
wow.
I had to spend 3 days doing packaging up different combinations. This is the glamorous life of an anime executive.
So is this the least fun part? Is doing all that?
Actually, bizarrely enough, doing stuff like this, like it's kind of like Zen.
Mm-hmm.
Normally I in my work I have to do a lot of thinking and technical work and stuff like that. And I have to do a lot of thinking about how to do this efficiently, which I enjoy. But there's this sort of Zen-like feeling of what of the kind of process you go through when you actually do this that for some bizarre reason I enjoy it. The part of this project, oh yeah, here. These are the patches that we did.
Oh wow, those are amazing.
Yeah, they're huge.
Those are incredibly well done.
Yeah, we found a couple of suppliers like for patches and like. Let's see if I can pull one of these out. This is like the keychain.
That's incredibly detailed too.
Yeah, we found some suppliers that just do incredible work, and they're just they're wonderful because they're fire and forget. Like this patch, this stickers. You notice this copyright sticker?
Yeah.
Turned out there was a printing mistake, and they didn't print the copyright notice on this, so we had to get those little correction stickers made up, and I had to put those correction stickers on every one of the stickers. There were 15,000 of them.
So you had to do that.
I hand relabeled 15,000. Basically, I was spending an hour a day for a month doing that.
Wow.
That's
awesome.
my life.
And then what's all that? Just more goodies?
That's just more boxes of. We did a larger art book variant. There's more different packaging. You know, we're all prepped up for this. Oh yeah, here's that.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
I usually get to prop open a door. Here, I'll put it back. That's where it was. Let's just see if you get to prop open a door.
Is that right there? More cells right there on the.
Yeah, there's some cells we had from that's from Bubblegum Crash, I think. We got. Oh, here's one from. Talking on video.
Wow. And you just have those just propping open doors, just like.
Oh, I'll probably sell them on. Oh, this one will freak you out.
Oh my god. So you're gonna sell those eventually?
Yeah, eventually, or I might just keep them. I mean, the Totoro ones I'll probably keep just because I love the show.
That is incredible.
Why do I think my house is about to get burgled?
Well, no one knows where you're at. Everyone knows that you're in the hurricane.
Everybody knows where I live.
But Robert, if we want to go ahead and wrap it up, it's been about almost an hour. So thank you so much for taking your time. And everyone, go back Magazine 23. I'm really pumped for this. I'm super pumped about Gunsmith Cats as well. And I think I'm gonna go make my wife watch Bubblegum Crisis now after talking to you. So. Stay very safe in the hurricane. And do you have anything to say to anyone watching?
No, just have fun. If you like our projects, by all means support them. I really appreciate the fact that anime fans have enabled me to not have a real job for over 30 years. That has been my career, is avoiding real work.
Hey, you're living the dream, man. You're living the dream. So
yeah, and I am very appreciative of that fact. I will be at a convention in Los Angeles, Anime Los Angeles. It's in January.
Okay.
Yeah, so Natsumi and I will be at that convention. If any of your viewers are going to be out at that convention, please stop by. You'll get to meet the actual boss.
Not you. You're
not me.
You're going to meet the boss.
Yeah, the real boss. The person who has enabled us to avoid bankruptcy for so many years, and trust me, it was despite my best efforts.
I'm going to leave a link to the Kickstarter down below, guys. I will leave a link to Robert's Twitter on the link down below as well. You guys just hit 124,000. What is the next stretch goal?
The next stretch goal is 150, and that's going to unlock the use of some Mikimoto artwork.
Awesome.
Both Mr. Mikimoto and Mr. Meow have been very supportive of the project, and they're really cool people. The first stretch goal unlocked a commentary track.
Okay.
Which the commentary tracks we've managed for the last few projects to do commentary tracks with the Japanese creators. And they've all been really great. for Riding Beam, we got Kenichi Sonoda in, and we actually did. We decided, since it was the first commentary track we'd ever done, we decided we wanted to do 2 takes of it. But what we ended up doing was that between the 2 takes, Natsumi, who was producing it, she took Sonoda and the other the speakers on the track out to a bar and got them drunk. Well, maybe not quite drunk, but let's just say well lubricated.
Yeah.
And then brought them back into the studio, and the second commentary is just like hilarious because they're just saying what they think.
Is it bad or is it good?
No, it's nothing awful, but it's just it's quite funny. So we refer to that as the ethanol fueled version of the.
Are you guys gonna be doing an ethanol fueled version for Megazone?
No, this one is Mr. Meow is going to be talking about his work on the project, and so I don't think he's ever done a commentary before. That's actually kind of the interesting thing is commentaries really aren't kind of a thing in Japanese releases. So this is kind of a new thing, and you actually get a lot of very interesting kind of diversions that give you a lot of kind of interesting little background tidbits on not just the particular show, but also the industry and people and stuff like that. And I find them actually one of the parts of the project that I enjoy the most is subtitling the commentary tracks. Because it's kind of a very different cadence from the actual show's dialogue, and so the actual the way you translate dialogue for a show versus the way you translate and dialogue edit a commentary on that show, where people are just like talking, turn out to be there's some interesting differences. It's really hard to describe.
Probably because the use of more slang terms.
Dialogue has to be, the dialogue has to work and it has to fit in with, the show, and you have to, and it's written. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas 3 guys chatting about this work that they did 20 years ago, and then seeing somebody's name in the credits and going like, "Oh yeah, I remember him." That guy is very different, and I just enjoy that. I mean, the one great thing about this business is that I find that no matter how many times I've done it, every project has a couple of moments of joy in it where I learned something I didn't know, or I found a good solution to a particular problem. So there's a lot that's I can kind of autopilot what I'm doing, but then there's always those little extra things, and the Kickstarters in particular, because it's a non-traditional releasing method, and it's much more tightly tied to the people who are backing it in terms of, I ask for their advice, like, what would you like me to do? How would you like this handled? Which image do you like better? Which packaging design? There's a lot of it's a lot less cut and dried, and so that generates its own fun for me, I guess.
Well, Robert, it's been a blast talking to you. You are seriously one of the nicest people I've gotten to talk to. And I wish you guys the best, and stay safe during the hurricane. And I hope because usually Kickstarters get the most money in the last couple of days. So
I think we'll probably make the next stretch goal of 150, and if we manage to get the Canadian and EU licensing before the end of the Kickstarter, we'll probably hit 200. And also, if we don't manage in time, but we get those rights later, and then more people pile on, direct through the website, we'll keep on tracking that. And if it means that we go over 200K collected, we'll just do the stretch goals.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, buddy, and thank you guys for watching. And go support Robert on Kickstarter. Follow him on Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time.